Hey there everyone. I have another slew of changes to show you in this progress update video. And I've got a lot to cover, or at least I've got a lot to demonstrate in my plain and simple view that I use that for demo purposes. So I'll try and be as quick as possible. Okay. First things first, if I go down through my list, let's see, I'm actually generating far less XAML code than the previous build, or definitely the previous build, but in comparison with the build that's out on the forum, in most cases I'm producing 50% less XAML code per view. Okay, I've tweaked some of the converters in my plugins folder. So the best way to demonstrate this then would be, let's see, I'm going to take this theme from 108.98, which is the forum build, and I'll paste it into my future build. Make sure I don't have it. No, I don't. So I have the wall. Let's see, I'll launch the forum version. And I'll publish, and there's no custom images, so this will be fairly quick. All right. Let's see, I'll go to my themes folder. There's the wall, created today, 512, and I'll call this old, and then I'll go into 109.1. And it should be in here again. This is new. And we'll go here. So this is for the old. Let's punch up another instance of File Explorer. We'll go into new and views. And let's do that. So just by looking at the file size, it's a lot smaller. So let's take a look at the code itself. Let's go for this big one here, this text games view. If I open this up with Notepad++, alright, so that's the old one. Let's open up the new one. Text games view. So we've got old and we've got new. So let's have a look at the number of lines of code, unless it updates the bottom of the... We got 4,416 lines of XAML code, alright. Yeah, 4416. Under the new build, we have 2,421. So that's a considerable reduction. And it's the same theme. It will run exactly the same way. It just looks a lot neater now, looking through the XAML code. It's a lot nicer. A lot more structured. I'm still not done, but that was my first pass like a week or so ago. But yeah, So like I said, in most cases it's 50% reduction of XAML Code. All right, so that was kind of a big win. Let's see, I'll go into 1091. Okay, so on the main screen, I've added a new aspect ratio of 16:10. And you may have noticed that I have more of these ellipses or circles displayed here, and that's because I've added 3 more wheel views. The latest version of BigBox has now got 4 vertical wheel views, so I've allowed the same within the theme creator. Alright, so I'll go into the editor, but before I do that, let's switch over to Plain and Simple. This is the one that I play around with the most. So we'll go into the editor now. And I've tweaked the Adorner styles again. So as you can see with hover tracking, it's no longer red. And when I click, it's no longer like a variant of a dash line. I've changed the parent container Adorner image layout a little bit differently. Try to kind of keep everything a little bit more kind of uniform. Personally, I think it looks a lot better. And it's still wicked fast. As you can see with hover tracking, it's very, very quick. Let's see, alignment. As you can see, this CD is part of this parent control. This parent is a grid, so as hard as I try, I can't get out of the grid unless, of course, I change the lock to canvas, which I can use a shortcut as well, Alt-L. So Alt-L, canvas lock has been disabled. CD can move freely outside of the grid. Okay, as you can see. Well, I'm going to enable canvas lock for the purpose of the next thing. So right click on this UI element, I can say align, I can say left, I can align top, whoops, I can align middle, and then horizontally I can say center. And then I can click on the parent, and you're familiar with this. I can center, and I can place it in the middle. All right, so align now works within parent controls, all right, or at least for grids, okay, where you can specify a location of a nested UI element anywhere you want within the grid. All right, so align's working just fine. Let's see, I want to highlight, actually while I'm in here, cursor control, I'm pressing up and it's moving very, very, very slowly, and that's because I'm now doing increments of 0.1 as opposed to 1. All right, so that way you can get a lot, the control can be a lot more, well, it's a lot finer, so it can be a lot more accurate now. All right, and you can still shift and cursor keys to make it move at greater distances, but anyway, 0.1. And the same with width and height as well. You can do the same using cursor keys. Let's see, smart guides. I I think I showed you that last time. What if I don't have an image and I'm animating it like so? Actually, let me move this back here. And actually, this was one of the things I noticed in the last video, that the smart guides weren't always showing up, and hence that's why I included a more kind of finely tuned cursor control on these things. So, all right, let's see if I can find a game where there is no CD present. Okay, no, there is one. I know I have one. Yep, perfect. All right. So the rotation is still occurring, but this time, because there is no image available, it will display image not available, but it's still being animated. That was something that I believe was not working, even in the forum build. So I've adjusted that. So at least you get something. Something is better than nothing. So that is working just fine. I'm going to exit here. I'm going to pick a different platform again. Let's go with Sega Saturn. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna tweak up this view, just so that I can demonstrate to you guys exactly what you can do with this particular version as it stands right now. It's kind of cool. Let me see if there's anything else. No. Okay. I believe the CD spinning from the left, that wasn't working in the last video, and I fixed it right after the video, so it does come in when it's supposed to come in now. And that was controlled via an assist, the animation assist down here. Spinning CD enter from the left. I fixed that. All right, so just to recap. Pretty much the only area where I'm using parent and nested elements is this one here, this stack within the main details, and then I've got my little test grid in here with 3 UI elements. We've got one background, we've got an animated CD, and then I've just got this animated rectangle. And it is animated when I hit Alt-I, which is to include animations with movement. Okay, all right, so this is all fully animated now. If I click on the CD, cannot modify properties unless the animations have been disabled, and sure enough, you can't edit the properties over here. I'm probably going to change this a little bit, but that's just a placeholder for me right now, just so that when I hop over to the properties pane, I know that this CD UI element has movement, and it moves in from the left side of the grid. So it has X and Y movement animations associated with it, and that's what it's letting me know. So you can't change the width, you can't change the position unless you disable all the animations first. All right, so I'll do that now. Alt-I. Either Alt-I or go up to the menu bar. Either way. But you've got shortcuts. All right. So this one is the one that is being disabled, include animations with movement. And then that allows me to freely focus or click on those UI elements because it's safe to do so. All right. And obviously the properties pane here is allowing updates to position and size. All right. All right. So these are the only two with nested UI elements. So we're gonna change things up here. What I want to do is essentially animate this whole section and all these main sections here. All right. So let's work on the first one, this parent here. We're gonna animate the stack, and we've got opacity, fade in, fade out. when you're making a selection, a game selection, it will fade out. Once you've let go of the controller or cursor keys and comes to rest, then it will fade in. All right, but we want to add one more, and that's when the view initially comes up on screen, so immediately. So what I want to do, this is the stack, so I want it to initially just move off the top of the screen. That's the very first thing it does. Start time is 0, duration is 0. So as soon as the view loads, I want this stack panel to be off screen, off the top. Okay, so you won't even see it. All right. However, let's say I don't know, 0.75 as a start time, and I want to move up and down. So I want to move from top of screen to its defined location, and it's going to take 2 seconds to do so. I want to power ease, I want to ease out. I always get these two mixed up, but we'll see how it works. There you go. So that parent is now animating in, and like I said, when I scroll through different games, it's faded out. When it comes to rest, it fades in. That's still intact. That's fine. It's only when you switch views when you'll get this this animation. All right. Now I want to apply it to the selected video, the wheel, and the box art. Now, if you've been keeping up with the videos, this box art will either be box art or it will show an arcade cabinet. Okay, so there you go. All right, and I'll just go into the editor for this one, and it's not a trick. It's just that I have 2 images in exactly the same location with visibility conditioning enabled. Oh, and this was another thing I changed after the last video. I didn't like the colors. I was using a blue and it wasn't showing up very well on this TV, and I'm sure it didn't show up on the video. So I've changed the colors, and as you can clearly see, UI elements on screen are represented in white in the list, and the metadata fields that you can clearly see from Launchbox and whatnot are listed in yellow. So now you can clearly see what belongs to what. All right. All right. So getting back to, we have 2 images, both with animations, and it's the standard fade in, fade out. Okay. And they have visibility conditioning. If one is being displayed, the other one will not display. But what we're going to do, I want to add a grid, and I'm just going to cheat. I'm just going to say copy. I'm going to paste. I want to paste layout. So now it's pasted the grid in exactly the same location as both the box art and arcade cabinet. Now I'm just going to move the box art and the arcade cabinet into the grid. Now I'm going to leave the visibility conditioning intact. That makes perfect sense. However, I don't need both animations enabled. Okay, so all I need to do is copy and then paste animate and reselect box art. I'm going to delete all. Same with the arcade cabinet. And now what we've got, we've utilized the same animation, but it's only defined once now at the parent level, and the content of this grid will flip-flop between box art or arcade cabinet. All right. Now the only thing remaining is to add this additional animation. And again, start time 0. We're going to move left or right this time, as opposed to up and down like the detail section. So I'm just going to say to the left, immediately. And then I believe it was, what was it, 0.75 was the start time on the new one. And it's move left or right. We're going to say off screen left to define location. It takes 2 seconds. It was power ease and it was an ease out. And OK. And we hit save. So now we have both the, in this case, the arcade cabinet coming in from the left, and we have the details coming in from the top. Let's go back to Sega Saturn. It just does a fade out and a fade in. So let me switch views. There you go. Now we're going to work on the selected video. And this one's simple. There is no parent that I need to place this in. All I'm going to do is just simply add an additional animation sequence here. So again, 0, move left or right. I'm going to move it off screen right, no duration. And then at 0.75, I want to move left or right, and it's going to go off screen right to define location, 2 seconds, easing function power, ease out, and hit OK, and then save. All right, so that was fairly simple. Now work on the wheel. Now the wheel is going to work exactly the same way as our grid that houses both the box art and arcade cabinet. Okay, so it's the same deal. Scroll down. I want a grid, and I want to copy from the frame and paste the layout to the grid. So now the grid is located at the same position and same size as the frame, as you can see, properties here. Okay, so now I'm free to move these objects, or UI elements, sorry, into the grid. Whoops. Now that's kind of cool, all right, but I didn't want to move the background in there, sorry. So what we want to do, same thing. I want to add animation now, and I want this to come from the bottom of the screen. All right, so again, it's 0, move up or down. I want it off screen bottom to off screen bottom, no duration, and then start time 0.75, up or down. I want from off screen bottom to define location. It takes 2 seconds with a power ease of ease out. Okay, so now we end up with that, and that was fairly quick to do. All right, but we're not done. There's a couple of other things I want to do. So we're going to take this scroll text here, and I want to encase it within a frame. So I'm going to add a frame. We scroll down to text scroller, and I'm going to move the text scroller into the frame. And let's see, I should have an assist. So I want a thin border. And let's see how wide the parent is. The parent is 597. Okay, so the frame will make that 597. And I want a margin of 12. The scroll text was also using a margin of 12 because obviously it wasn't within a frame. I'm going to reset that back to 0. The height of the scroll text is 132 and a smidge. I'm going to change the frame to be 132. And we can position the, ooh, what did I do? Did I not hit enter? I don't think I hit enter. Let's just double check. Yeah, I have it set to 132. All right, so this one I've got set to 132, and do I have it set to 132? Yeah, I do. No margin. I've got a margin. It's at 576. Do I want it at 576? Probably not. 57. Nah, it's interesting it's doing that. Why it's jumping position. All right. Well, that's for something for me to figure out after the video. All right. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, I want it centered, horizontal. I want the contents of the frame centered horizontally, centered vertically. Okay. And then text scroller. Let's see. It's going to alter the thing again. All right. Let's see. I know I've done something here. What did I do? Oh, I've added padding properties. That's what I did. I knew there was something else that I had done. Let's see. Yeah, so it's kind of forced the content in. Yeah, just in case you want it. But in this case, with the scroll text, I just want to kind of, I don't know, bring it in a little bit, I guess. What am I doing? 597. I'm really sorry about that. 590 as the width of the scroll text. 580. Yeah, there you go. And the height is fine. All right, so that's what I wanted. And the whole thing, all these UI elements are all centered within this stack panel. All right, as you can see here. And I've left justified all the UI elements, see, as they're all left aligned here. All right, so let's see where we're at. Yeah, it looks good. And then, like I said, as you make selections, it fades out. As you come to rest, they all fade in. That's exactly what we want. And again, this isn't something I would have on a theme or in a view. It's just a test UI element, so you can ignore that. Obviously, if I were to publish this theme, I would be removing this. But yeah, that's what this view now looks like when it is initialized. Okay. So we can go ahead and publish. I'll take some water. Don't think there was anything else. There were a couple of things that were broken because I hadn't gotten around to testing them. So as I was playing around with different themes and load them into the new version, some things that were previously working in the forum build were no longer working in this one. So I've been fixing them. There's no point me going through that list because it should be a seamless experience for you guys. Your expectation is whatever's currently working should continue to work, and then obviously you've got more features, more functions, and better performance and all this kind of good stuff. So all right, so that theme was published, and I'll go into BigBox, and I'm running the latest beta for BigBox, and that has a couple of little quirks in the beta right now, and that's not something I'm going to be covering. We're just going to purely focus on the view that I've just altered. So let me go to a text view. Perfect. And then Sega Saturn. And again, we'll go to a text view. Perfect. So as you saw, as the view first loaded, the main elements all came in from the various edges there. And as I scroll through the list, the items have faded out. I come to rest, they all fade in. All right, so as you make your selection, they fade out, fade in. Okay. Hop out. Let's go to arcade. We go in, they all animate in nicely. Again, let me do that again. Yep, perfect. All right, so I'll exit here. Let me see, I think there may have been one more thing here. I did mention the additional vertical wheel views, the 3 extra. Let's go back into this text view. I know there was something else. As hard as I try to document all this stuff. Oh, yeah. So, for example, if I do something like this, I'm gonna pick up this grid and its content. Okay, I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna drag it as basically the first entry of this stack panel. As you can see, I did that. I want it centered. And I've set the stack panel to be a fixed height, okay? But I can easily change it to auto size. And now it encompasses everything that it can fit in there. And again, if I hit Alt-I and include animations with movement, you end up with this. All right, and of course I can't move the stack around because obviously it's got animation defined on it that moves it in from the top of the screen. But Yeah, that's kind of wild. But if I just hit Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z should repaint. At some point, let me go back to the point where grid, rectangle, CD, and fan art should be in its own. I've hit Control Z many times. It's not doing it. And we've lost our... Yeah, let me switch off the animations with movement. All right. What? Oh, it's altered the Y position. Yeah, a couple of glitches, which I'll have to figure out. But what I want to do here, let's center on the horizontal. No, it's not centered, is it? That's right. Let's center it between those two UI elements. Yeah, it looks roughly. Let's get the smart guide there. And let's remove the height. If I hit, that's angle, which I don't want to do. I'm juggling here. Well, that'll take forever. What's the height of this one? 659. Okay. So it's centered between these two, and it's the same height as this, and the content is still centered vertically. All right. Let's just make sure I haven't buggered everything up. No, it's fine. And it's still 132. Okay, cool. All right. I think that's it. So I just wanted to show how easy it is to manipulate your UI elements within parent controls. Again, you know, you can, like I said, you can do this, you know, for whatever reason, move it out. And again, we've got the finer control on the cursor keys. There you go. So you have the smart guides indicating the edges here. So that's all working nicely. Yeah, that's it. Of course, I've got bugs, little glitches here and there, especially when it comes to auto size. I'm still working on that, clearly. But cut, copy, paste, and delete, and paste properties is the next big one on my list. So, for example, if I right-click on grid and I hit cut, the expectation is it will remove this and all its children or nested elements. Okay, so not only is it cutting one UI element, it's taking all four, right? And then the idea being is I could simply paste on this view, or I could go to a completely different view and hit paste, and it will paste all four. All right. The other one too is I want to allow copy or cut up here at the group level, and then again you can go to another view and hit paste, and it will create the group, and then paste all the elements that were in that group from the previous view and paste them into the new view. So you'll be able to take the contents of an entire group and paste them across views. All right. So that's the game plan for this weekend, and I've already kind of made a start on some of the background logic that determines all the UI elements to cut, copy, and paste and delete. All right, so there you have it. That's the progress so far. I hope you like it. I certainly do. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment. And then once I'm done with some more bug fixes and cut, copy, paste, and delete, then I'll circle back to the ability to rotate a UI element using the mouse, resizing using the mouse, and then that is kind of it really for this build. So it's going to take me a bit of time for sure, testing, because like I said, I've got a whole slew of testing to do. There's a whole bunch of various themes not created by me that I want to make sure that the code that this build generates is still making, ensuring that the old themes work as intended, and we'll continue doing so using this new build. So there's a ton of testing I have to do. All right, but yeah, we're not too far away from completing the build. I certainly see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a couple of fine-tuning here and there that I have to do, but overall I'm very happy with it. It seems fairly easy to manipulate nested UI elements and get them to behave the way that you would want them to behave. Alright, so that's enough of me gas bagging. We'll leave it there. So we'll give it another week or so when I think that I've got something more kind of meaty to show you. So until then, be safe everybody, and take care, and I'll see you in the next video.